Hello everybody, it's Mr. Second Amendment. Just on my way to work, doing a quick update. Two things we got to talk about. So I'm going to start small and then I'm going to go big. So kind of on a smaller level, I got a notification from YouTube yesterday that two of my videos violated community standards. And it was my Aero Precision M5 lower build video, and then my standard AR-15 mil-spec lower build video. So they cited the reasons for it being that it's firearms related content. That's the only explanation they had. So if you don't see those videos anymore, that's why. What's weird is I have an Aero Precision M4 Echo 1 lower build video, and I also have like my first AR-15 lower build video that was not live action. It was just a step-by-step me kind of narrating and showing pictures. In the end, I ended up taking those down because if there's another violation, then they're actually going to put a strike on my account. So my account as of yet still has no strikes. I don't know why they took down, out of the 4 lower receiver build videos I had, why they removed 2 of them, but then they kept the other 2 going. So I don't know if that's just the way that I uploaded it and the choices that I made. The boxes you have to check of what kind of video it is, what kind of content is in there. I know that YouTube has a policy of you can't show firearms creation. So, you know, if you're gonna have like an 80% lower, and then you're gonna try to do a video showing completing that to 100%, or you're like at, you know, a factory showing, you know, a gun company, a manufacturer producing firearms, like detailed showing that, I know that's against their standards. Now, when you are building a lower receiver, the gun and the firearm is already complete. It's already manufactured. You're just putting pieces together. So legally, buying a completed lower with a lower parts kit and everything and building that, you're not manufacturing the gun. The gun is already manufactured. It already has a serial number. You already did a background check and everything for it. So from a legal standpoint, building a lower is not manufacturing a firearm. It's already there. But by YouTube standards, I believe they look at that building a lower as, you know, firearms creation. So out of abundance of caution, not wanting to get a strike on my account, and that I couldn't upload for a week and everything, I took down those 2 other videos. So it's not what I want to do, but I want to stay on YouTube at least long enough to push into moving on a bunch of different platforms. I'm looking at actually creating my own website, so that would allow me to upload videos and host it and do anything at that point. And then, of course, jumping on some other stuff. Something I've been looking at is UGEtube, UGE Tube, Utah Gun Exchange Tube. Not as good in terms of buffering videos and everything, but it is a very gun-friendly platform. I've not been invited the full 30, but if I did, I would totally produce a channel on there. So I'm looking at moving to alternative channels. I know it's come up in previous Q&As, but this is kind of like a shot across the bow. I know that my time on YouTube is limited, and I've known that for a long time, but this is kind of definitely a wake-up call that we need to start initiating alternative platforms, and I want to maintain my channel here long enough to kind of propel into those other platforms. And you guys know where to find me, and you guys know where you can go to still get my content. And I'd actually be able to put up videos that I haven't put up or done because I know they're not going to fall in line with YouTube standards. So that's part of a whole larger discussion about deplatforming, censorship, and everything. And honestly, like I've said in the past Q&As, I have more concerns about First Amendment stuff than I do about Second Amendment stuff. And reason why, actually moving into the big topic, so I'm going to stop on that. We're going to move into the more important thing that I'm sure you guys have been paying attention to. And if not, good news. So the Sixth Circuit Court just ruled that the bump stock ban was unlawful. And it's not simply just striking that down, but what is more important, I was reading some of the case and some of the papers this morning. Some of the language is very interesting. It's important because what they determined, so there was a case a long time ago against Chevron with some environmental issues, and in that case, the courts ruled that, hey, you know, the law is the law, but sometimes when it's ambiguous, or, you know, there kind of needs to be a decision and we can't go back and just make another law, as long as it doesn't directly conflict with the law or what Congress said in that law, then an expert of the government, of one of the, you know, departments, can come in and say, hey, this is the expert opinion to clarify this, and you have to fall in line with that. So that's known as Chevron deference from that case, where the ATF has been using that this whole time to, you know, make rulings and determinations on, such as pertinent to this case, the bump stock, where the Trump administration went after bump stocks and through the ATF got them redetermined as machine guns, even though the ATF had previously determined that it was not, in fact, did not meet the legal criteria for machine guns. Actually, in the previous shotgun blast, I know Range Chris and I talked about, you know, we don't particularly care for the bump stock. It's not something we would buy or actually use, but we fervently believe it needs to stay legal because it does not meet the definition of a machine gun. So anyway, getting back on target, ATF has been using this Chevron deference this whole time, making determinations on braces, with the recent drama where they were, you know, coming down on Q for the Honey Badger, and then at large, the other braces, SB-A3, SB Tactical, all that. So all these determinations, they've been using kind of this assumption of Chevron deference. And this, not with the circuit, the Sixth Circuit, not only did it reverse that of banning the bump stock, but also they said, hey, you can't use Chevron deference when it comes to criminal matters, because, you know, the ATF is a part of the executive branch. Okay, so we have a separation of powers. We got a 14th Amendment due process conflict, which is what we've been saying this whole time, but now it's actually been ruled in court. And the issue was like, hey, ATF is part of the executive branch, but kind of assuming into this Chevron deference they've been doing, and in fact used it to ban the bump stock when President Trump wanted them to do that. You can't do that in matters of criminal consequence to the general public, because now you're moving into the legislative branch. Congress is the only one who can make laws. They can write it, they can make the law. I mean, the executive branch has to sign it, you know, balance of powers and checks and balances, but, you know, you guys are essentially, you are part of the executive branch, and also you are making these determinations that carry criminal weight on the general public. So now you're doing legislative branch stuff. So that's in violation with the 14th Amendment. And actually there's some Fifth Amendment involved in that too, believe it or not. So that is huge. That is significant. Two reasons I see. One, you know, they can still rule with Chevron deference for civil stuff, but not criminal. That is massive. So if I'm reading this right, that would mean the ATF is not allowed to suddenly decide pistol braces are not okay. Trying to use Chevron deference, because that would carry criminal consequence to the general public, and they can't do it as of this ruling, which is pretty cool. at least if I'm reading that right. So big shout out to Gun Owners of America. They are actually like swapping paint in court with the ATF on this and getting results. So I've been a member of Gun Owners of America for I think 4 or 5 years now. If you are not a member, I would join them and donate to them if possible. I know money's tough for everyone right now, but Gun Owners of America is a no compromise pro 2A organization. None of this Mickey Mouse bullshit we've seen from the NRA in recent years. They are going to the mattresses on this. So big shout out, big thumbs up, Gun Owners of America. If you're not a member, I would urge you to join, and if you can donate, please do. And this is probably the first time I've ever urged you guys to join or donate to anything. So I'm coming out and saying that right now. They are getting results. The second big thing to talk about on this case is now we have a conflict between the circuit courts. You've got the Ninth Circus doing their usual activities. Had some interesting rulings, though, with California magazine bans there and everything. But we've got circuit courts out of alignment, that's going to cost standing for this to go up to the Supreme Court, where, surprise, surprise, we have a very pro-Second Amendment standing there between Amy Coney Barrett, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, all these justices, Clarence Thomas. And actually, Clarence Thomas and Justice Kavanaugh, both of them have come out in recent years and saying, kind of disappointed the Supreme Court has not taken Second Amendment challenges that they felt they really should take. So you've got a court that is very favorable by majority opinion to the Second Amendment, with justices on that court that want to take these cases. So now you might have a situation where this ATF might appeal it, they might appeal it, and now guess where that's right on the sights to go to the Supreme Court of the United States. Which, if you are anti-gun or wanted the bump stocks to stay illegal, if you wanted ATF to just have full reign and kind of grab two branches of government and be like an unelected one-man army, this might be bad news for you, because if this goes to the Supreme Court, which looks like I think that's where we're headed eventually on this, you're going to be in a position where things are going to get worse for you if you're anti-gun. So kind of a minor setback with my channel today, or yesterday, just letting you guys know I'm doing what I need to do to maintain this channel, at least until I can launch you guys into alternative media. But a huge win, at least for us in the Second Amendment community. And of course, I'd also argue at large as Americans. I hear people say, oh, like the First Amendment is the most important. The Second Amendment is the most important. I'd like to say all of them are important. All of our amendments are equally important. And the separation of powers, of how our Constitution was set up and how it separates the powers between the branches of government, that's a critical thing. So if you have one agency as part of the executive branch, the ATF, just being an executive function and then moving into the legislative branch and kind of taking some of those powers, and Sixth Circuit Court slams that down, I consider that a huge win just for we the people, whether you're in the guns or not. We don't want branches of government taking other powers that they don't have. So big victory today. When I get off work, I'm gonna go ahead and read more of the case law, but so far it was looking really good. So good things to be looking forward to, and thank you guys for watching, and we're gonna do hopefully another Q&A next week. All right, take care.